for the park and greet the Mets. Hot dogs, green grass, all out of shade. Guaranteed to have a heck of a day because the Mets are really rocking that ball, hitting those home runs over the wall. In Jersey, Brooklyn, Queens, uptown and down. Let's go Mets! That's the cheer all over New York town. Meet the Mets. 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 Head for the park and greet the Mets. Hot dogs, green grass, all out of shade. Guaranteed to have a heck of a day because the Mets are really rocking the ball, hitting those home runs over the wall. New Jersey, Brooklyn, Queens, uptown and down. Let's go Mets! That's the cheer all over New York town. Meet the Mets. Meet the Mets. Let's go Mets!
Hi, everybody. This is the Baseball Hype, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the people's champion, your host, Hyde, and Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, to everybody. And hopefully you're going to have a good one. Hopefully I have a good one. But we're back here live from New York City talking about our favorite team. I want to talk about what's been going on this week. Crazy week. Man, I want to talk a lot about the reaction because Major League Baseball is not too happy about the Mets spending spree and getting, especially Carlos Correa. That seemed to be the tipping point because obviously the Mets have messed up the natural order of things in Major League Baseball, which is good. Hopefully this will challenge some of these other teams to spend some money, but we'll get into that as we go along. And I would ask you to please like this video and subscribe. And it's interesting. We'll get into that in a moment. But, the Mets surprised Major League Baseball by signing Carlos Correa on Tuesday into Wednesday. After that whole thing with the Giants basically went kaput. Now, from what I was just reading now, it seems to be a bit of an issue now, this physical with Correa. The deal's probably going to go through, but it seems like there's a bit of an issue again with this physical. What it is, who knows? Maybe baseball can't. The teams can't talk about, obviously, because of privacy rules. You can't talk about what kind of physical is out there. But it seems to be an issue again with the Mets. I'll let you know if anything comes up. They said that today was going to be the day they're going to not announce it, but sort of make it official that he's here. Oh boy. Let me read you this. So John Heyman, Mets have expressed concern about Correa's medicals. Parties are trying to work through it now. Ken Rosenthal first reported Mets issue. That's not good. Let me read you what Rosenthal's saying. He put out an article. Well, since this is probably locked, got to pay for it. This is from Ken Rosenthal from The Athletic. It's the physical again. New York Mets, like the San Francisco Giants earlier in the week, have raised concern about Correa's surgically repaired lower right leg, potentially jeopardizing their 12-year, $315 million agreement with the star shortstop, according to people briefed on the matter who were not authorized to speak publicly. Well, that's not good. Well, it's gotten locked in. But that's not good news, folks. That's not good news at all. Not at all. Let me just go through a couple things. Now, please like this video again. Let me just say hello to the chat. Hello, BMW05. Missy Oparius, how you doing? from Andy Martino. The Mets are not currently responding to questions about the status of the deal, but I can confirm through two league sources that there is some kind of concern about his physical. This is Correa. Scott Boras not immediately available for comment either. Stay tuned. Oh boy, this is not good. So it seems to be a problem with his leg. Now I would mention he's had a history of physical problems, over the years. So this is not like any surprise. Hello, Matthew Landau. I haven't seen you in a long time, Matthew. Yeah, I mean this seems to be an issue. This is not good. Obviously it's not good at all, They always put that money somewhere else, by the way. Yeah, Michael Mayer. Well, this is there's a whole full article on this physical. This is from Michael Mayer. Mets have been discussing the physical issue of Boras for the last day. No indications I've been given is that a deal with Correa is still likely. Shane Wick 722. Bro, stop saying this isn't good. Well, it's not good because, and I'll tell you why. This guy's had a history of injuries. All right. He's only played 150 games once in his career. If you're a top player, you don't miss time. He missed 40 games last year in 23. He lost time in 21. So his history as an injured player is very important to understand. That's why I was very concerned when there was first talk about signing him because of his injury history. And that's important to know, and it's important to keep in mind that they're going to be investing $315 million plus 12 years. And he already has lost money because the other deal got squashed. Now, if they decide to sign him, don't be surprised if he loses more years and loses more money. And this could be an arthritic problem that he has in his leg. So, Todd Licata, why didn't the Mets just, get Correa last year when Correa couldn't get a long-term contract? He did get a long-term contract from the Twins, but this physical is a major problem. If would you sign a guy that has a problem with his leg long-term? To be able to see this in real time. I'm watching this now. I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to pretend to be one. But obviously, there's probably some kind of arthritic problem with the leg. They probably feel that the length of the contract, he was going to get 13 years from the Giants. And they basically put the kibosh on it because of this physical. Now, Boras said this is an issue, that this is an old injury. But if he's had the leg surgically repaired and is still a problem, that means arthritis has set in. And he's too young to be getting arthritis. He's 28 years old. So it's going to be a very big concern for the Mets and anybody signing him. This from SNY Mets. Again, Martino confirms the Athletics reporting that there is some kind of concern about Correa's physical. And that who's going to say that's bad? That's bad. That isn't good. It's not good. Let me look at Correa's career. Let me see. Hold on a second. Let me find Correa. It's important to know that the history of a player's health is very important too. So let's see. Yeah, but he's missed time. I mean, Correa has missed a lot of time. So in I don't know when he got called up in 2015. Let me see. All right. 2015, he didn't miss much time. He didn't miss any time in the majors. He got called up in June. In 2016, Correa played 153 games at 21 years old. That is the most games he's ever played. This is now going to be 7 years. So 6 years ago. In 2017, he missed 53 games. 53 games. In 2018, he missed 52 games. You see a pattern here? In 2019, he only played in 75 games. Think about that. So he missed 87 games that year. In 2020, he only missed 2 games because of the 60 games. In 2021, he missed 14 games. Maybe Dusty sat him. Who knows? Last year, he missed 26 games. This to me is a problem, and the fact that there's still a problem with the leg. Now, here's the thing: if it's an arthritic problem, which is probably what this sounds like to me, um, he might not have had arthritis in his leg last year. It might have set in over the last year since his last physical, which he took with the Twins. And I would mention the Twins gave an opt out after the first year. That's why he's a free agent again. I mean, the Mets might do that. The Mets just might do that. Let me get back to the chat. Todd Licata, how are you? I don't know if I said hello. Hello, are you sure about that? Merry Christmas, Hut. Are you sure about that? I don't know about that. It is Christmas, isn't it? Well, it's Christmas Eve. But, I mean, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but again, you have a player with a history of injuries. You have a player that, to me, I'm not the biggest fan of him as a not outside of the performance. Not a big fan of his. And, this is troubling. Peter Coyne, Merry Christmas to you and your family. Thank you. You too. Why don't they try and sign him to a 3 or 4 year deal with options? We're going to find out. Tyler Costa says the Twins contract was 3 years with an opt out. That's probably the reason why he didn't get a longer term deal. All right. It's very interesting that last year his market was not very big. And that was not a big shortstop market last year. This year is a big market. Much bigger market than it was last year. And you see all the money that's being spent with Verlander and the money the Mets gave Nimmo. The money's out there. So this thing with Correa, you now have 2 years in a row. Last year he had a 3-year contract with the Twins with an opt-out after the first year. They probably saw this issue with his leg, and they said, well, we kind of need the player. I mean, his numbers with the Twins, they were okay. They were okay for a shortstop. And they were not a good team. They basically collapsed in the second half. I mean, this is very troubling. It's very, very troubling. Now, his WAR was very high last year, 5.4. His wins above replacement is not something that you sneeze at. I mean, this guy, he's a very good defensive player amongst being a very good offense. I was thinking about this. I know he's going to be playing third, but if you look at his numbers, he'd probably be better as a second baseman, to be honest with you. Isn't it smart that Mets did not move any of their young players? They didn't move any of their third basemen or move Escobar. Good thing they haven't done that yet. But this is, I mean, I don't sound like a broken record, but it's very troubling reading this stuff. Yeah, SNY is reporting it now. I was going to talk a whole bunch of stuff about how pissed off Major League Baseball was the Mets this week about their spending. Let me read you this article from SNY, and this is from Andy Martino and Robert Sanchez. We always give credit to where credit is due here. So anything I take here, I expect to give credit to. And also would expect people, if they're going to take stuff from my videos, please credit me. The Mets are concerned about Carlos Correa's physical. 2 league sources confirmed to SNY's Andy Martino. The Athletics' Ken Rosenthal was first to report the news. The team is not currently responding to questions about the status of the 12-year, $315 million deal it agreed to with Correa. And his agent, Scott Boras, was not immediately available for comment. Correa initially agreed to a 13-year, $350 million contract with the San Francisco Giants. However, it fell through after the team flagged an issue with his medicals. The result was a stunning late night move by the Mets, who swooped in with their own mega deal. Isn't that interesting? So I wonder if this is going to happen again. Hello, John Kearney. He says, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's to all. Getting dizzy watching all these names by the Mets. Hopefully, it'll translate to success on the field, but I don't know what to make of all of this. Well, they won 101 games last year. And we will monitor this situation today, obviously, with Correa. Hold on a second. Somebody's texting me. From time to time, doctors can look at things like the morphology of your foot and decide you might not be good in the long term. Well, the rumor is that it was either an ankle or it was his leg. If it's, I can't imagine a deal getting squashed because of an ankle. A badly arthritic leg might be a different story. I didn't think we'd be talking about this right now. Did not think this was going to be the deal. Hold on a second. Let me just fix something. Now, please like this video, of course, and subscribe. And, of course, subscribe to the Baseball Hype. We're going to do probably do a live stream tomorrow. We'll see, in the evening. So you want to stick around and find out what's going on with the Mets. And there's going to be news now with this thing in the next couple of days. That's a good question, MLB Post. I don't know. Will Correa still be met? If he is, then they're going to the deal is probably going to get squashed in terms of the years. He's probably not going to get 12 years. I wouldn't give him 12 years if there's a problem with his foot, with his body. Maybe give him a year or 2 years. But I'd be very careful with these years now. And like I said, his numbers aren't great. I mean, his numbers as a player, you put him at third base, they're not great. Dingbat OOF. I feel like I might have a panic attack. Well, if I were you, I'd take it somewhere else. I think you should take that somewhere else, Dingbat. Sorry. But we'll see what happens. Missy, right up this article as a Twins fan, the Twins reporter, I am not going to let this hit piece scare me. Peter Coyne, I think they will still sign him, but it may be shorter length and incentive. Right? I think so too. Now I think that Peter, he's going to get probably fewer years now. They're going to have to renegotiate this contract. I think that's probably what's going to happen here. It's too bad that it's come to this, But we're getting. I mean, just sort of sitting here, and all of a sudden, this has popped up right now. But let me read a couple other things, which will be fun to talk about and sort of laugh. I posted a video last night of the Yankees, how the Yankees seem to be having a bit of an issue, not being the number one team. Randy Levine, the president of the Yankees, said that they're still the flagship team in Major League Baseball. The past, the present, and the future. Well, I don't know about the present and the future. They're not exactly the number one team in town, by the way. I thought that was kind of funny. And can somebody get Randy to the eye doctor? Get him to the optimist. Get his eyes examined and get him a new pair of glasses, please. But yeah, I mean, Tom DeCon says Cespedes couldn't get a long-term deal out of it. No, he get 1 or 2 years. The Mets didn't get crazy on him. Let me read you Some reaction from Major League Baseball is pretty funny. This is from Yahoo Sports. MLB owners reportedly unhappy with Steve Cohen's spending spree. Quote, I think it's going to have consequences for him down the road. Yeah, the consequences the Mets are going to be winning a lot. Now, I wonder now if this deal gets squashed in terms of the money in the years with Correa. Um, are the so-called experts in MLB are going to have to walk back with the Mets have done here? Because a lot of stuff has come out that makes a lot of Major League Baseball look very small, interestingly enough. But let me read you a couple things. It's pretty fun. I'll just read you some quotes. It's from an official from another team. I think it's going to have consequences for him down the road. There's no collusion, but there was a reason nobody for years ever went past $300 million. You still have partners, and there's a system. um, Despite this is an article. Despite the flimsy no collusion disclaimer that sounds like a thinly veiled threat, it speaks to how uncomfortable it speaks to how uncomfortable Cohen's spending spree makes teams that have recently operated largely similar lanes. Hold on, I need a drink. Glug, 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 glug. After Cohen swooped in to lure shortstop Carlos Correa from the stalling Giants, now this might be squashed now. I think this is interesting. This revealed a lot of stuff about the other teams. It's unprecedented because the $111 million luxury tax bill will be more than the total payroll of at least 10 major league clubs. The $315 million spent to sign Correa is more than the Pittsburgh Pirates have spent on free agents in more than a decade. I would mention this about the Pirates. They have one of the richest owners in baseball. He's a billionaire. But to get back to Correa, again, what's being reported is that the Mets are concerned about his physical. And obviously, that's going to be a big problem now. Do the Mets renegotiate? Do the Mets just walk away? Maybe go back to the Giants. Who, by the way, the Giants signed Michael Conforto. I knew the Mets should have signed him. Now, the Mets don't need a third baseman. If Correa leaves, they could just put Escobar back at third or just develop Beatty some more. So this wasn't like a hole that the Mets had. This isn't like this was like an extra thing. Mets signing him. But now we have an issue again with the physical. And who knows what it is. We're never going to really know because they don't reveal these medical things on the privacy laws and stuff. But this is very, very troubling. Not to sound like a broken record, but it's very troubling. So, Mets still have a good lineup. Although I didn't really, like I said, I'm not a big fan of Correa. Just based off of his history, based off of stuff that happens outside the lines. I'm not a big fan of the fact that he's always hurt, and his injuries have now there's an issue now. And it's one thing if the Giants had like cold feet, but now you have this situation. And do the Mets now even bother signing him because when they had the press conference to announce that he's part of the Mets, that's all they're going to talk about. That's all the media is going to talk about now. Is his health and whether this guy can handle the rigors of being an everyday player, you know. And there must be an issue. There must be some, like I said earlier, there has to be an arthritic problem here. That's probably going to need further surgeries and stuff. That's the only time they don't like sign these players to these long-term deals. As if there's a problem with the physical to where it's some kind of arthritic problem. Look at Bo Jackson. Remember Bo Jackson? He hurt his hip and really he couldn't play football anymore. And that's really what got him out of Major League Baseball because the hip had gotten worse over the last couple of years of his career that he couldn't play anymore. And he went from one of the best talents in the history of sports to a guy that was out of baseball and football for that matter because he had that bad hip. Maybe Correa, but I haven't heard any issues with his hip. But he does have an issue with his leg, I guess, and with an ankle. But like I said, I can't imagine an ankle being so bad that, I think he suffered in 2014. I can't imagine an ankle being so bad um, that he would not be able to perform 4 or 5 years from now. An arthritic leg is a different situation, and he had it, I guess, like surgically repaired. I don't know if it wasn't properly, you know, repaired properly or what, but you know, but this is what happens sometimes with players. Now, please like this video and subscribe to the Baseball Hut. And if you're coming through watching the live stream, please subscribe, and that way you can talk and participate in the chat. I'm not going to be on too long, but talking about Correa is a interesting side here because of the fact that this was unexpected. Because we figured that that's the reason why he didn't sign with the Giants, but maybe there was thoughts that maybe the Giants had cold feet. Okay. First of all, Steven, why would you trade Jeff McNeil? Why is anybody? First of all, the White Sox, that's too much for them anyway. Eloy Jimenez is a backup player, and Liam Hendricks is 33 years old. You don't have to give up any of that for Liam Hendricks. Okay. Jeff McNeil just won a batting title. Why would you move him? Liam Hendricks, the White Sox said they're not moving him. They said they've been taking trade talk from teams, but they're not moving him. Anyone that says the Mets are getting Liam Hendricks this offseason is crazy. And why would anybody give up Jeff McNeil after he won a batting title? And Ronnie Mauricio and Mark Vientos and Ken Parada? That's an overpay like you've never seen. Liam Hendricks at his top, which he is now, he's not a Aroldis Chapman. Aroldis Chapman, that is an overpay. Who came up with this trade proposal? Steven, is this one of yours or is it somebody else? Because this is a bad trade. You're completely, you're basically giving them the whole Mets team. I mean, you do not trade Jeff McNeil, Ronnie Mauricio, Vientos, and Parada. No, you do not have to give up half of that for a 33-year-old reliever and a backup outfielder. Give me a break. Sequan K says, keep up the good work. Well, thank you. From Hansel, if it's arthritis in his ankle, that's not a major issue as it was years ago. Exactly. There are new procedures that use gel to treat it. I know because I tore up both my ankles. It's probably something else. It's probably his leg. If he has a problem with his leg, then or a hip, he can have a problem. MLB post anything else on Correa? I actually can't see him leaving. Well, we'll see. I mean, they might have to renegotiate the contract just to have Steve save face with the player. Maybe sign to a 3 or 4 year deal. I mean, that's fine, which I think is fair, considering he might have a problem with. Considering he might have a problem with his physical. Primo Brady says, can they just negotiate Correa with less years? Yeah, probably. I mean, they could do anything. If they come back and say we want the player, but we can't give him 12 years, they could do that. Yeah, and it's weird that at 28 years old, there's a problem with the physical. It must be something really glaring with now a second team with the physical. It might not have shown up last year with the Twins. Or maybe it did show up with the Twins, but they said they probably went back to him. Let's give you a year. Now, he did miss time. He did miss time last year. for whatever reason. Roberto Dennis Jr. says they were saying that the Mets sold $1 million in tickets as soon as they got Correa. I think that Correa will be fine and hopefully everything will be okay. Let's hope everything goes well. Everything's going to be all right. Everything's going to be fine. But I think he'll stay here, but they're going to have to renegotiate the contract. I think they're going to have to. Just to save face, which is probably just as well. That way the Mets don't have to be stuck with this guy for 12 years. You know, I mean, I was thinking about this that Lindor is probably a better player than him, and Lindor's contract seems to be a better kind of deal that they got than they would have gotten for him. Because Lindor probably would get a lot more money now on the market. I was thinking about this the other day. It's like, Fernando Tatis Jr. screwed up the entire market for all these shortstops. Just looking at a couple of tweets. That's from Talking Baseball. I guess they got a channel. Might be difficult for the Mets to back out of the Correa deal because Steve Cohen already made public comments about it. Rosedal writes that MLB has warned teams not to make public comments about pending agreements, but they could always get less years if they want the player. So we want the player, but they're gonna have to think about giving him less years. You cannot give him a 12-year deal. Greg Seaman says they don't think he can be able to play until he's 40. Exactly. I don't think he can play until he's 40 either because of his injury history. He's 28 years old and has a problem with physical. There's something must be seriously wrong there. Must be something very bad for his, physically. That this popped up with a second team now. At 28 years old, you should not be failing physicals. I mean, or maybe there's something else we don't even know about. Maybe he's got a heart issue. Who knows? But the fact that again that he's basically failed another physical tells you that that he has a problem. It's very unusual for players to fail physicals anyway. Now we do know from a few years ago that Brandon Nimmo was going to get traded to the Reds for Jay Bruce, and the Reds nixed the deal because they didn't like the physical that they got from the Mets from Nimmo. And as it turned out, that was a screw up because Nimmo has played well since then. So you don't see that too often where they don't screw up these physicals. Usually they have a pretty good idea. And of course, early this year, Mets tried to make that big trade with the Padres and the Cubs. That big three-way deal. They were going to take what the hell's his name? Chris Paddock, and they found that there was a problem with his elbow, and then right after he had to get surgery. So this stuff does pop up, but this thing about Correa being 28 years old and he has this injury problem, it's not good. Now, I think probably in all likelihood he's going to sign, but he's probably going to lose a lot of years. He already lost a year from the other physical, and he lost $40 million, $30 million from the Giants to the Mets. So he's probably going to lose years. The Mets are probably like, look, we want to have the player here, but we're going to have to renegotiate this contract for less years and obviously less money. Boy, oh boy, what a mess! What a big mess. And again, I'm not a big fan of this player. And I'll tell you what I think about a player. All right, he's very talented, but he's always hurt. He's only played 150 games once in his career. He played 148 last year, and those are the most games he's really ever played. All the other years, he's missed significant times, 30 games, 40 games, 87 games. Missed a lot of time over the years. So that is a major issue. For me, it is. Okay. And I don't even think he's the best shortstop on the market this offseason. I thought Trey Turner was. I wish the Mets had signed him because he's going to hold up. Even though he has, he's a speed guy, he's going to hold up for a long time. He hasn't had any bad injuries. And the way, they're taking away the shift and taking away being able to throw the first, I think his game is going to get better. But this thing this is, again, like I was saying, this player tends to bring in some drama with him, too. So just keep that in mind. This is not going to be a guy that's going to be quiet outside the lines, all right? We've seen Lindor here now for 2 years. Other than his issue on the field with McNeil and not being able to play well, he's been very much a very quiet guy with his family, no issues outside the lines. All the issues are always inside the lines. Or Correa, it's different. Correa brings a lot of drama. If it was me, I'd just walk away from it. Use that money somewhere else. But now, since all the big players are off the board, Conforto's off the board, they're gonna have to sign this player, unfortunately. But they're gonna have to renegotiate this contract. You can't be stuck with this guy for 12 years. You cannot be stuck with him. It would be a big mistake for the Mets to do that going forward. Now, of course, please like this video and subscribe to the Baseball Hut. Let me see if anything new is going on. Let's take a look. All right. I would mention this just to sort of let you know. Correa had a 10-year contract with the Twins. But this is from Michael Marino. This is understanding around the league. Twins didn't do much investigating into the ankle before a 3-year deal because they felt ankle was an issue that would be a threat to interfere within 3 years. Would have done a more thorough look during the physical if a 10-year deal was accepted. Okay. All right, let me just sort of straighten this out. So it seems like the Twins offered him 10 years, but he kind of took 3 years, and they didn't really investigate the ankle. From Anthony DeComo, the Mets have concerns with Carlos Correa's medical records, as Ken Rosenthal first reported. Per source, the two sides are actively working through things. Unclear when we'll have a resolution, but this does not indicate the deal is dead. More to come. I would think that the deal will be renegotiated. That's what it seems to me. I was thinking that we were going to get some kind of announcement today that they were going to announce that he was going to sign today, but that did not happen today. Interesting. So this is going to go on for a couple more days, I would think. Probably sometime by the middle of next week, we'll hear something new. Again, from Michael Marino, says lower leg ankle was a fibular surgery that caused all these concerns, as I've reported. So this is the deal with the ankle, I guess. Guess it wasn't a very good surgery that he had done on the ankle. That's not good. I guess it was an injury that he had in the minor leagues. Interesting. And I really don't know where to go here because I am not a doctor. I'm not even a lawyer. Just a simple YouTuber talking about the Mets. But I would think they'll have to renegotiate. They'll have to renegotiate. You can't which may be a good thing because then they can spend less money on this guy. That's probably what they're going back and forth. And Steve's already talked about it. So he can't renege on a deal because then he can get in trouble. They'll probably have to reduce the years on it, the money. Who knows? Who knows at this point? So maybe we'll have some news on this later. If there's news on this later, I'll do a video, I guess, for later. I wasn't expecting to do a video for later. Just wanted to come on and say hello to everybody. Interesting, isn't it? What a crazy story. But then again, like I said, a lot of drama around this player. A lot of drama surrounding him. Oh yeah, I mean, that's a bad. I mean, that's really bad. I mean, the only way you could really, uh, sort of take some pressure off is by losing weight. Having a bad ankle is not good. I mean, I sprained my ankle when I was a kid, but as a kid, every so often I'll feel it. Uh, but I know how that hurts. I mean, it hurts really bad. You can't walk. And he is a big guy. He's a very big guy. Ray Rod says, just do an 8-year deal of higher AAV and add opt-outs. Okay. Go call up Scott Boras or call Steve Phelps, Steve Cohen, and get them together, right? How about that? I'm sure that'll go over. That'll go over really well. That'll go over really well. Yeah. So if I hear anything new later, I'll do a video on it. And let me just fix something. I got to keep editing this title of this video because this has really changed a lot now. Now, please, of course, like this video and subscribe to the Baseball Hut. Interestingly enough, over the next couple of weeks, I didn't think that we're going to be doing any more like big moves. I wasn't expecting any big moves now from the Mets, because they made this big move, and the last couple of days, the White Sox have come out and said they're not going to trade Liam Hendricks. That trade earlier, before the crazy trade that was proposed. Who was proposing that the Mets trade Jeff McNeil? I've heard this a couple of times. Silly. Nobody wanted Jeff here last year. The guy wins a batting title. They still don't want him here. What was the guy have to do to stay here? It's like with Pete last year. Everybody wanted to trade Pete Alonso. The guy didn't hit enough home runs his first few years. They wanted to get rid of him. Same deal. But yeah, and I'm probably going to do a live stream tomorrow. So just keep your eye out for it. And Ray Rice, this is probably what's keeping the Mets from moving Escobar. You don't have to move Escobar. There's no reason to move Escobar anyway. That guy's a winning player. You want to keep him on your team. This guy's a winner. And he's a good guy. You want to keep him here. This guy is not afraid of a big spot. I thought he did a great job last year, even though he struggled with the bat for a few months. I thought he had a really good year. So you don't move Escobar. That's not why they didn't move Escobar yet. Because they'd not announced Correa yet. I would keep him. Have him be my DH with Vogel back. That's what I would do. I'd bounce him around. I could play him. He's going to play him a lot at third anyway. Because Correa's going to be hurt. He's going to be hurt. You can play him at second. Play him a little at first if you have to. DH him. Have him come off the bench. He wouldn't have a problem with any of that. That's for sure. And if anybody's in the New York area, if you're in the New York area, folks, please stay warm. Because it is really cold tonight. It is really, really cold. Ray Ron says, rumors are the White Sox really like Escobar. Okay. Liam Hendricks isn't getting traded. Okay. The White Sox said they're not trading him. If he's getting traded, he's not getting traded until the trading deadline. All right. They brought in Benintendi. If you're bringing in Benintendi, you're telling everybody that you want to win next year. Okay. If they make a trade, it'll be Eloy Jimenez, because Jimenez, they don't like him, and he's a fourth outfielder, and he doesn't have a place to play with the Mets. So, I mean, with the White Sox. So he's going to be gone. That I will tell you that. I would mention there was a big trade yesterday between the Diamondbacks and the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays guy, Dalton Varsho, and they traded Goriel and it was one of the catchers. Interesting trade. I'm trying to figure out who won that trade. Oh, Danny Jansen went in that trade. I'm trying to think who won that trade. I think it's kind of a toss-up. I was looking at the numbers for all these players that got moved. They're all overrated. Very overrated. But the Blue Jays don't make too many mistakes. Varsho will probably play really well up there. And Diamondbacks were very wanting to get a catcher. You got two teams that had needs. The Blue Jays needed outfielders, and and Diamondbacks had a surplus, and obviously the Blue Jays had a surplus behind the plate, and they brought it and they made this deal. So that made a lot of sense. But what a crazy day! This was a crazy 40 minutes. See if anything new's come up. Well, that's about it. I'm going to end the live stream because the football game's coming on. The Giants are coming on. They're going to be playing in Minnesota. They're in Minnesota right now. And it's indoors, which sucks. But it's minus 17 wind chill factor in Minnesota. So that's going to be a fun game. I don't know how the Giants are winning this game, by the way. I don't know how to win this game. But they're pretty close to getting in postseason again for the first time in a long time. So I want to thank you all for coming by. I want to wish you all a very Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. We'll be back again tomorrow, I think, and a live stream here from New York City. And stay warm. Have a good day, and I'll see you later.